Okay, boys and girls, attention up here. Let's go back to these problems. We're just going to do 3 short examples today. Instead of doing all 6, we're going to do just sine, cosine, and tangent. But you need to be able to reference your learning from yesterday. So we start with this. Yep, and I'm going to tell you that, but we did not have an assignment. And so if you can follow today, you'll be good to go. But it will be a little confusing, okay? So, first thing we identify is the angle. What is pi over 2 in degrees? 90 degrees. So, if you have your unit circle and you draw a 90-degree angle, it will look like that, correct? Now, this is a little bit different than the ones we drew yesterday, because yesterday, the terminal side of the angle came out along this part of the circle, correct? And then we had to find out what the xy coordinate was. Look at this. This is going to be really easy. What is that xy coordinate? Not 1, 1, but 0, 1. So what is the x value? 0. What's the y value? 1. And the radius in the unit circle is always 1. So we want to list our first 3 trigonometric functions. The sine of pi over 2. Sine of pi over 2, again, sine is going to be, what's the ratio that we learned yesterday? Look at your notes from above. Which of the 3 letters? It's y over r. If you take y and divide it by r, you get 1. Now we'll do cosine of pi over 2. What's the ratio for cosine of pi over 2? X over r. What do you get if you take x and divide it by r? 0. And then let's take tangent of pi over 2. What's the ratio for tangent? Y over x. If you take y and divide it by x, can you have 0 in the denominator? So when you get 0 in the denominator, you write undefined. So we didn't have to make a special triangle there, did we? Because we could look at it and tell the point. The next one's going to be very similar. Theta is equal to 0. So what's my angle in degrees? Would everybody agree that that's my angle? Can you identify the coordinate that this angle terminates on? What is that coordinate right there? 1, 0. Over 1 unit, up 0. So therefore, what's my x value? What's my y value? What's my r value? So we have the sine of 0, cosine of 0, and tangent of 0. Sine is what as a ratio? What's 0 over 1? Cosine is what as a ratio? X over r. 1 over 1 is? And tangent is what as a ratio? Y over x. 0 over 1. Can you have 0 on the top? Yes, it's okay to have 0 on the top, so you just get 0. So that's kind of interesting if you look at it, that cosine of 0 gives you 1. But that's why. That's why you get that value. Let's try one more together, and then I'll give you the worksheet. We'll do a couple of those. Okay? So, 2 pi over 3. Who can tell me the degrees? 120 degrees. Very good. 3 pi over 2 would be 270. 2 pi over 3 is 120 degrees. Now, super important that you focus through this part. We're okay with that drawing? This is 120 degrees, or 2 pi over 3. We are going to look for the x, y coordinate. I am not going to make a triangle with this side. I'm going to make a triangle with the other side. If this is 120 degrees, what is left over here? 60. How'd you get 60, Theo? Very good. 180 minus 120 is 60. This is 90 degrees. So what is this angle here? So what kind of triangle do I have? What special triangle? 30, 60, 90. What's always the radius in the unit circle? 1. How do I go from the radius to the shortest side? Divide by 2. So the relationship is always in a 30, 60, 90. We take the long side and we divide by 2 to get the shortest side. Longest side, divide it by 2 to get the shortest side. So what's half of 1? 1/2. What do I do to the shortest side to get the other side? Right. 4 times the root of 3 was 4 roots of 3. 10 times the root of 3 was 10 roots of 3. So multiply by the root of 3, and you get the root of 3 over 2. Now, we got to be a little careful here, folks. What's the y value? Root of 3 over 2, right? That's the y coordinate. That's the height of this object. What is the x value? 1/2. But which quadrant am I in? So I went backwards. So it's not a positive 1/2. It's a negative 1. Sine is what? What's the ratio? Y over R. What's the y value? And we divide that by 1, you just get root of 3 over 2. Cosine of 2 pi over 3. How do you get the cosine of 2 pi over 3? You take, what's the ratio? X over R. And what is R? 1. So you just take X, which is negative 1/2, and divide it by 1, which is negative 1/2. Tangent will be a little bit different. What's the ratio for tangent? What do we do? Y over X. What's the Y value? Square root 3 over 2 divided by negative 1/2. Uh-oh. How do you divide fractions? Multiply by the reciprocal. So I take square root of 3 over 2, and instead of dividing by negative 1/2, I multiply by negative 2 over 1. Now, what happens to the 2's? They go away. I'm left with negative root of 3. So those are my values. Is she making fun of me? Say pi over 6, what? Pi over 3, what? That's what she said. So with a few minutes left in class, we will like knock down this wall. Okay. Okay.